2021, and I will ask the city clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Gold?
Present.
Commissioner Guess?
Present.
Commissioner Henderson?
Present.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Bray?
Present. Let's stand for the invocation. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for getting us this far through what has been some of the most challenging times of our life. Let us remember that those who have lost their lives or been severely disadvantaged as a result of this pandemic. In particular, let us remember those individuals and families who have been challenged both mentally, emotionally, and financially by the effects of COVID. Please continue to keep all of us safe as we continue to navigate through these trying times. Give us the strength and courage to continue on and to use the defeat of the virus as a springboard to better our lives and the lives of others. Please continue to bless this commission with wisdom as we look to make important decisions about our path forward in relation to the manner in which we allocate the city's resources. And finally, Lord, help us continue to set an example for our community as we listen openly to our citizens for input. Lord, we ask that as leaders you give us the strength to lead with sincerity, integrity, and with a vision. Amen.
Amen.
Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll have employee introductions. City Manager, are you taking this one?
I will take that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. We have with us tonight Nick Hutchinson, our new Director of Planning. Nick, if you want to come up. Nick actually joined Team Paducah formally back last Thursday with his indoctrination through human resources, and he's getting to be mingling with the team members, getting to meet the team members, and it's been a pleasure to have him on board. And I applaud Nick for reaching out to the other department leaders and talking to them and meeting with his team. And I was so impressed with Nick. He came on board first day staff meeting, meeting with each of his different staff members as a group, meeting with them individually this week. So he's doing all the right things. Nick, you want to tell them about yourself?
Sure. Mayor and Commission, I'm honored to serve as the next Director of Planning for the City of Paducah. I'm looking forward to joining this innovative and dynamic organization and joining the leadership team and our excellent planning staff and getting to know the community and helping serve some of the challenges and issues and opportunities that the city faces. I come here from St. Joseph, Missouri, where I was the Executive Director of the Regional Planning Commission, and prior to that I was the City Planner for the City of St. Joseph. So with my background and experience and my educational attainment, I feel like I am a good candidate and qualified for the position and looking forward to serve.
Welcome.
Great. It's great to have you on board, and you got your work cut out for you. That's for sure. But we're we're really glad to have you, and I think I can speak on behalf of all the commissioners that anything that we can do to help you, support you along the way, we'll certainly do that.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciated.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. Oak Grove Cemetery has been on all of our minds for the past several months, and tonight I would like to introduce you to our newest member at Parks, our cemetery sexton, Tyler McEwen. He's here with his wife Leslie and Madison. Tyler has been with us for a month officially, and he spent his first couple of days in Bowling Green training with their cemetery staff, as well as training with our team as well. So Tyler, do you want to come up and say a few words?
As she said, my name's Tyler McEwen. I've lived in Paducah for probably about 16 years now. Worked out at Honeywell, Before that, after that, I went and got my degree from WKCTC. And other than that, I'll accept any questions. I mean, have you all been by the cemetery lately?
I was by there, I've been at it, yeah, the last couple of days.
Okay.
Just on Martin Luther King.
All right. Have you seen any improvement at all?
I have, yeah,
Excellent.
definitely.
That's important.
So, it's a big job. First of all, welcome
Thank
to you and your family both. Thank you for being here tonight. And, we really appreciate it. I started hearing a lot about the cemetery last year when I was actually campaigning and some of the challenges and problems we had out there. So I actually went out there and met with, some folks one Saturday. And so it's on a lot of people's minds, the way that we keep the cemetery. I even went to the trouble of calling several other cities in Kentucky who also have cemeteries to try to get an idea exactly how they were working with some of the rules and regulations and the way they managed and, that sort of thing. So it's an important asset, really, of the city of Paducah, and we're looking forward to having your leadership out there. And again, I know we'll support you any way that we can.
I appreciate that. It's been around the city for a long time. It's almost 200 years old, and I'm looking forward to bringing it back to where it's something we can be proud of.
There's a lot of history out there.
There is.
A lot of history out there, and a lot of people, not only in the city, in our county, in the area, are very tuned into that history and what's going on out there. So, anybody else have a?
That's my route every day.
That's your route every day? All right.
So I noticed it specifically last night when I went by. I noticed a difference. So thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it, all of your work on behalf of everyone.
I'll let my guys know. We
That's good.
we got a lot of work ahead of us there, but we'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. I think it'd be a good idea for us, at some point in time, all of us, to go out there and just see what's going on at the cemetery, meet some of the staff, and just chat, not to get in your way, because I know you got plenty of work, but I think out of sight, out of mind. So if you get out there, I think it's important, and I'm very sincere. It's an important asset of the city. So, okay, are we ready to move on? I think I'll move tonight right to the consent agenda. And the items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval. Would any commissioner like any item removed for separate discussion? Okay, so I will ask the city clerk to read the items recommended for approval.
Approve minutes for April 27th, May 4th, and May 11th, 2021 Paducah Board of Commissioners meetings. Receive and file documents. Appointment of Keisha Curry to the Paducah Area Transit Authority to replace Duran Ursery, who resigned. Said term shall expire June 30th, 2022. Appointment of Angela Copeland to the Commissioner of Waterworks to replace Deborah Edmonds, who resigned. Said term shall expire January 6, 2023. Appointment of Amanda Johnson to replace Reagan Wainscott, whose term has expired, and reappointment of Heather Coltharp and Christopher B. Jones to the Historical and Architectural Review Commission, HARC. Said term shall expire June 4, 2024. Personnel actions, a municipal order accepting grant funds through the U.S. Department of Justice for a 2020 U.S. Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Award in an amount of $5,506.90 for the purchase of body armor vests for use by the Paducah Police Department and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing an application to the U.S. Department of Justice for a 2021 U.S. Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant in an amount of $8,098.38 and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Paducah Junior College Incorporated in the amount of $125,000 for the Community Scholarship Program. A municipal order authorizing the Parks Services Department to apply for a Bark for Your Park grant in the amount of $25,000 through the Pet Safe brand for improvements to the Independence Park and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Of course, now we'll move to municipal orders. And the first one is the purchase of handheld and mobile radios. Chief Laird, do you want to talk about those real quickly?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. This is part of the Homeland Security grant that we applied for and received last year. That total amount there, $314,000 of that was Department of Justice federal grant, Homeland Security money that was provided to us. We were able to, we got quotes from Motorola to finish out that project completely. And so that pushed us up just a little bit above that $314,000. We were able to utilize and repurpose some of our general fund money, or general budget money from the police department to be able to complete that purchase, which replaces every single radio within the police department. So that overall picture, again, as we talk 911, will lower that dollar figure down of what needs to be replaced in the future.
Any questions from any of the commissioners? Okay, City Clerk, I'd ask you to call roll. I'm sorry, read the municipal order, please.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Purchase of Handheld Motorola Radios for the Paducah Police Department in an amount of $374,262.28 for the Kentucky Master Agreement vendor Motorola Solutions, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same."
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Okay, so we got a new ordinance to introduce tonight, which amends a code of ordinances on rules of conduct in the recreational areas. So we'd like to hear from you.
Yes, so this is just an update to the language. Currently, the language does not specify dog parks in our code. And so since we do have a dog park and we're looking at future improvements to make Independence Park also a dog park, we wanted to make sure we changed the language. Right now, it says that all dogs have to be leashed in all city parks. So we're just going to change the language, update it to exclude designated dog parks so that they don't have to be leashed in those areas.
So in Independence Bank, or that parking, that park now, people would not have to keep their dog on a leash?
They are supposed to now, so we're updating it so that they won't have to, and we're doing improvements over there to actually make it an official dog park in a section of it. So it'll have the dog park entries, just like we have at Stuart Nelson Park, that double entry. So we're getting ready to do some improvements over there as well.
Does it have water
It will.
for them? Okay, it will.
Yeah.
Phase 2.
Yes. Pending the grant.
Oh,
You're
okay,
right,
so
right,
the
I saw
grant
that.
is to be able to do that?
Yes, we're going to go ahead and do the fencing. We have the budget to do that now. And then we are hoping that the grant will work on amenities, water, fountains, that kind of thing to improve the space.
And that's the 25,000, that
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But the one other thing that I hear about that is the parking. So, is there any plan there?
There isn't yet, but I do have on my calendar to talk to Rick to see how we can improve that space. There's quite a bit of curb there that we could potentially look at, so.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. City Clerk, would you please read the ordinance, proposed ordinance?
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Amending Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah." This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah amends Chapter 70-5, Number 6, to allow for unleashed dogs in city parks designated as dog parks. All other sections not changed herein remain in full force and effect.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So from there, We okay? From there, you're bothering me.
I think he's looking at me, but I'm not sure what.
From there, there's a couple of items. We've got a pretty long executive session tonight that we're going to get into here in a little bit. Several things to talk about concerning the recruitment of the new city manager, but I want to throw a couple of things out for discussion, and the first one is the proposed McCracken County Sports Complex, the outdoor soccer fields and whatnot. There's been a lot of dialogue, a lot of discussion in the community about that. I think generally people feel like it's a good thing. I've gotten input from people, mostly super positive, about that complex and what it could do for our community. Taking advantage of the sports tourism market. I've had a few people reach out to me. I want to acknowledge this. People have reached out and said, I don't understand, it's a county project. I don't understand why the city's necessarily going in on this. I pay city taxes, I pay county taxes. I'm getting taxed double if the city ends up throwing in money. And so certainly all of that, and maybe some of the other commissioners have gotten some of the same feedback. So we've been talking about it, for some time, and some of my concern was in allocating some of our bond money for this particular project. Some of my concern was really not so much the sports complex itself, but was exactly how are we going to address our 911 challenges. We have an antiquated 911 system that really needs upgrading. And it was just hard for me to come to terms with going all in with this project, without first understanding and addressing how we were going to take care of the 911 project. So to that end, and we've had some meetings with, since I took office, we've had now 3 meetings to talk about 911. But we repurposed a meeting this past Monday with the county to talk about not only the outdoor sports complex, but 911. And so we kind of wrapped that discussion into not a single discussion, but both projects. And I'm happy to say that we came out of there, I think, with an understanding, of how we're going to move forward. We believe that there's a pathway where we can, and we're still waiting, I'll back up just a little bit, we're still waiting for a refreshed study from our consultant on exactly what our options are on 911. But the issue was not what we have to do, it was the way we may be able to fund it. Because just to review, going back to the 1990s, the way we funded 911 in the very beginning was we put a user fee on landline phones. And over the last 30 years, we all know what landline phones have done. And so they've gone away, essentially. And so that amount of user fees is just really gone away, and we don't have the same option with cell phones. And so we really had to look for a funding mechanism. And so we talked a lot about that, and we did not come to a final decision on exactly what we're going to do, but I think there was consensus in the room that the city and the county are going to work together on a funding mechanism that would allow us to move forward in doing our 911 system. The thought, and still undecided, the thought would be that we might be able to fund that through user fees and perhaps a bond, some sort of bond that would allow us to replace the system and continue to have that be upgraded over time. So again, there's more discussion to take place, but I think all of us here in the city were very happy that we came out of the meeting with some consensus between us and the county on how we were going to go forward. Our discussion then turned to really the outdoor sports complex. And I think we really ended up in a good spot there as well, in that we generally have an understanding that the city is going to partner with the county on the outdoor sports park. And the idea of a partnership, we went over. I like to say the devil's in the details, but we went over some of the things that we wanted to discuss with them about what partnership really means. Again, I think we came out of the meeting with a really good understanding, and I think we have an understanding going forward. I just wanted to kind of bring this up for discussion. With the other commissioners, if you have any questions about it, we're going to have to, at some point in time, decide and vote on the amount of money that we actually want to, put into the outdoor sports complex. But as we sit here today, we have a pretty good understanding of how that's going to work with the county. So, City Manager, would you like to add anything to my laborious comments?
No, I think you really summed it up pretty well. I think the overall concept was I like the way that we kind of mentioned the importance of 911, and it is basically a county-city partnership to fix that, as well as the importance of working with the county on their project, that being the outdoor recreation project, and defining what those terms look like, looking at the potential bond proceeds that could be utilized from our perspective to put towards that project, while still being able to accomplish other Board of Commission priorities, that being 911, which is a priority of this board, as well as stormwater improvements, as well as south side enhancements. So really focusing the monies as most practical as possible to accomplish multiple objectives. I think using those with the combination of the pending receipt of the, I always mess this acronym up, the American
Rescue,
Thank
ARCA?
you. Yeah, Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA, yeah.
Yeah.
Utilizing that $6.4 million over a 2-year period in conjunction with the bond proceeds. One thing to pay particular note to, we're year in, 2 years to go to spend on those bond proceeds. So time is of the essence, and we have to make some significant, expenditures of the bond proceeds here within the next 24 months, which I think aligns well with the outdoor recreation project. So I think it's really kind of aligning well. Plus, we have other projects we could utilize that on too. So I think it's a great way to do it. I was pleased with the partnership throughout the meeting. Judge Executive Clymer really had a good handle on what that partnership can look like, and your leadership, Mr. Mayor, it went really well.
Please.
Is there an agreement on using some of the funds that the Sports Commission would be using to bond?
Yes.
Part of it? Do you want to
Yeah,
about that at all?
where we ended up was talking about us putting in, and again, the devil's in the details, so we haven't negotiated the final agreement, but there is an understanding that, we would each put in an amount of money upfront, capital, and then we would bond from there, utilizing those funds from the
Sports Commission?
The Sports Commission, thank you.
Which was a tax on the hotel rooms.
Correct.
It was not a tax on our residents.
That's correct. So, yeah, we came out of there with a clear understanding, and also another thing we talked about, and again, we were in the meeting 2 hours, but we talked about the fact that, there's an opportunity, if sports tourism for this facility goes like we think it could, there's an opportunity for that facility to make money, to turn a profit with all these out-of-town teams coming through. And so we feel like that there's going to be some funds that are going to be available, yet undetermined, but the consultants estimate it could be as much as you all saw it when we were all together, $1.5 million a year. Now, even if it's not that much, then, but still there's, that can help retire debt and lower the burden on the city and the county, on taxpayers. And I think we have an understanding that definitely, that's what we need to do. That we're probably in the future, there will be some desire on the part of local residents to use those sports parks, that might come into conflict with out-of-town teams who want to use it. We're just going to have to work through that. But we have to keep in mind, the debt that we have, and we just have to analyze it along with it, just the way it's going at the time.
At what point do you anticipate saying how much the city would do, how much the county would do, and how much would be coming from the Sports Commission bond?
Well, I think we're pretty close on that. I think, I'd like to talk with all of you all about that a little bit and let you know where we ended up on it. And but we're getting close, so I'm not ready to share it right this very second.
No, I'm just asking
But
when you anticipate doing that.
We're very close because I think we need to move forward with, making the commitment. So they're ready to get started. We've got a designer ready to go. So, and I talked with all of you before the meeting, and it really didn't go much differently than what we talked about. So we're on track. I feel encouraged, by the direction, and I do feel like it's an important community project, and I'm proud to say I'm proud to favor supporting that project.
Well, I'm one that likes to celebrate, so I think at some point it would call for that. I think would be a big, bold step for our community. It's a great partnership, and I just think it could be very, very exciting to have that project under construction in our community.
Anybody else?
I've talked to several people, rubbing shoulders with, and I haven't heard any negative. They think and we've always been for it. It's just, we kind of got a little bad publicity, but we're just trying, as Jim said, we had to work it in, fit the pieces, but I think it's a great.
Well, it's funny, bad publicity. I had somebody ask me today, is the city digging their heels in? Is there an issue?
We've always been for it.
I think the only issue I ever had was that I think that our first priority is public safety. And I just wasn't willing to really move in the direction with that project without understanding some of the obligations that we have, and figuring out a way to address those. And I'm satisfied that we got a path forward now. And I think city manager is as well.
I think I won't call them negatives. I've heard some challenges, some of the same things that you mentioned earlier. But by and large, the response has been very, very good, very positive. And if you and the city manager are comfortable that we're moving in the right direction, I, like Commissioner Wilson, ready to celebrate and ready to get it going. I think it is going to be a good thing for our city, for the county. It's going to be good.
Well, I think my concerns were, I felt like we established the Sports Commission to have that money for part of it and not using that was a concern for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we've been able to come to that agreement to use that.
Well, I actually reviewed that. Actually, I went back and looked at minutes, of that meeting when the two commissions were established and everything, and it was very clear, that was established, for an outdoor sports park. But I think what's been discovered is it's not enough. It's not enough money. I mean, it's not enough money for the kind of sports park that we think we need based upon the opportunity, the potential for sports tourism. So I'm not sure maybe the message could have been communicated a little better, differently, who knows. But at any rate, I think we're going to end up at a good spot.
I'm excited too, but as you said, the devil's in the details.
Exactly.
So
Thank you.
I
I need
think
that support from you.
You two would say that.
that's always going to be my position.
Check mark that. Yeah.
That's why I didn't say it. 'Cause
So, any other questions or thoughts? Okay, thanks everybody for your, and we'll work through the details of everything, and we'll be talking in more detail about it. So the next item on the agenda for discussion is just the FY22 budget. We had a budget session. We've had a couple of opportunities to talk about it. I know our finance manager, John Perkins, Cincy, is here tonight and has, I know, is going to be wanting to get work on this pretty soon. I just want to have an open discussion if anybody had anything they wanted to bring up.
I think we spent a lot of time on it. Really, again, appreciate the staff and everyone that's been involved with it. I think we've looked at it from every way possible.
No heartburn? Commissioner Henderson?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, before we move on, I am going to put John on the spot just a minute as I'm sitting here thinking about it. Are you comfortable with it? I've learned to also ask that question because he's pretty conservative. Yes.
Come on up here, John.
You've traditionally been very guarded and not ever overextended us, and that's why I depend on your opinion a lot.
Well, I was reading the silences. I could get out of here. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Well, I think the budget is as conservative as we can make it. There's probably some work we've got to do, city manager, and I think we've talked about that with all of you, and that's yet to be done. I think the economy is going to crank it up pretty good, and that's going to help us a lot. Other than that, I'm not real sure what else to say. I do know this: if things don't turn out as we'll know a lot of things in the next 6 months as time passes. Like the other day, we were looking at the bed tax, or I think they officially call it the transient tax, and we've been tracking that. The city's only had the bed tax now since a couple years now, so we didn't really have any data to compare it to, and so we were looking at the last 5 months where we had comparable data, and we were running an average of about 80% of what it had been the year before. And so that was COVID. And the last month we got, it ran at 130% of what it was the year before, which was good. Now, I hope that's not just a fluke, and we'll know after a couple more months. And so if the bed tax is going up, that means that there's people here. And if there's people here, they're spending money. And if they're spending money, that means that everything is probably going to go with it. And what is it, the old expression, every rising tide floats all boats? And hopefully that's us. My experience of years of being here was pre the Great Recession. Whatever happened in the national economy, Paducah would experience it a year later. So if we nationally went into a recession, we didn't hit it for a year. That's all different now. Post-recession, post-Great Recession, now it's like, you never know. And here comes COVID. And so we're just kind of watching it closely. I appreciate that, and I appreciate what was it, Cincy? Is that what you said? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a new one, okay. I've been called a lot of things, but not that one. I'm good with it. I think we need to wrap it up and get to going. There's so many things we can do. We can always not spend money if it looks like we don't have it, and we'll keep you informed of that. And if we bring in too much revenue, we'll let you know that too.
Yeah, a little later than if the expenses are higher. But
that's what
we'll still
Cincy's
get the
do.
message.
That's what Cincy's do. Yeah.
The only thing I really had, we changed the reserve for the general fund from 12% to 10%.
Yes.
In order to help us accommodate some work that we had to do on the flood wall. And I know we had raised it a couple of years ago from 10 to 12, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I think it was 12. No, it was 10.
12.
I think it was 12. We went to 10, and then we went back to 12, and now we're going back to 10 again over the years.
So, no concerns there, in terms of...
Well, if we could get that big project called the flood wall finally fully funded and
Right.
behind us, I think that's worth a lot to us, because if we don't fix the flood wall, the rest of this is for naught. And so I guess in the next, city manager and I haven't really talked about the details of this, but over the next several weeks, we need to bring before you a proposal to actually take money out of the reserve and put it in a set aside for that project and wrap it up.
That'll be in June, yes.
Yes. We're talking, that's a massive project. People that maybe at home don't realize this. We've been working on this thing for, 20 years, $36 million. A lot of it, of course, is federal funding, but a lot of it's ours, too. And the longer it drags out, the more expensive, of course, it gets. But hopefully this will be the end of it. I think Rick Murphy used to remind me a number of times that was one of the first things he did when he got here, and he's worked on it ever since, 20 years. It's a long time. But hopefully we can get that done and lock that up, then maybe one of these days we can go back to 12% reserve or higher. Like city manager, like 17%.
16.6.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate your leadership in the financial area.
Well,
It's,
we have a lot of help, a lot of good folks.
I know you do.
Yeah.
You got a good team,
Yeah.
but it takes leadership, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Right back at you, too.
Okay, I think we are,
No, I can go home?
you can.
Okay. Thank you very much.
City Clerk, you want to take us into executive session?
Any comments?
Hmm?
Do you want to do comments or anything, city manager comments?
Oh, I'm sorry. Comments?
I'm not heartbroken, I have no comments.
Anybody else have any comments? I'm not making any comments, because I know we have a long executive session.
We do,
so.
yeah.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics: issues which might lead to the appointment, dismissal, or disciplining of an employee as permitted by KRS 61.8101F.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye.
Is that in your mailbox?